Hey everyone, Sparks back with another Goddess Victory Nikke video, and I want to show you something that I had theory crafted when we first got Rosanna's kit revealed, and that is her working with Snow White. And I put this to the test and it absolutely works, and it's really cool to see a new partner for my favorite Nikke in the game. We can do some really cool stuff with her. Rosanna and Snow White are probably new best friends for not only one-shot interceptions, but potentially using her on raid teams as well. So you can see that I just did the demonstration here with using Snow White, Rosanna, Red Hood, Maxwell, and Crown. This is probably the most overpowered squad for this. It definitely works. You can easily get the title for defeating Altessan in under 30 seconds, so have fun with that. But it's more than just a gimmick, and we can use this for a lot of different things, and there are variations to this formation. We can do a lot of different takes on this squad as long as we're using Snow White and Rosanna, and I'll show you some more of those in a second. But let's talk about why this works, okay? So in case you're just like totally unfamiliar with Snow White, it is possible to do crazy damage with her burst by stacking attack buffs or debuffs on the enemy, and this all comes from the enormous multiplier on Snow White, okay? And I have a whole video on how to become a god and do insane damage with Snow White. I'll link that video in the description below, so check that out after this video if you need a whole tutorial on Snow White. But let's talk about why this works with Rosanna, and basically this comes from leveraging her skill 1 and her burst. Her skill 2 is kind of irrelevant here, but her skill 1 forcibly goes off at the very start of the battle, and it lasts for 15 seconds. So we're going to get this parts damage up for 15 seconds. So it's important that we kill the boss in the first 15 seconds, which is no problem at all since we're just going to do this in one shot. And then the other part comes from her burst skill. And the burst skill not only does a bunch of damage from Rosanna herself, although it's really negligible damage compared to what Snow White is going to be doing, but it comes from the attack buff that she gives everybody, right? So we're going to get a big attack buff plus a big damage up debuff on enemy parts, and that is the really important thing because we're going to be hitting multiple parts here, and this will work for not only the train but also for Chatterbox and any other enemy where we're going to be able to hit multiple parts in one shot here. Because this debuff becomes more and more valuable the more parts we're hitting at one time. Of course, on top of the attack buffs that we're getting, Snow White also gets exponentially better. Actually, exponentially is the wrong way of saying this. Wrong math terms here, but it gets even better the more parts we're getting, whether it's an attack buff or a debuff on the enemy part. So we can see that this also works with Noir. Again, we're just putting in another attack buffer in our 5th slot here instead of using Crown, and this works equally well. We can also put in other attack buffers such as Privity. This is another great one. She'll actually do an even bigger attack buff than Noir does, although still smaller than Crown. But this is just a demonstration this works with many different squads. These are probably the 3 ones that I like the most. But we can do this in many different ways and still get that one-shot kill and end this battle, as you can see here, in 11 seconds. Now, if you have a built enough Snow White, you could probably even do this without using a 5th unit, which is kind of crazy to think about. But my Snow White is only limit break 1, so really Snow White could get even stronger, and she won't even need that extra attack buff. I tried it with only 4 units, and I got just a little over the stage 7 damage, so then it was still easy to clean up in like a few seconds more to get to that 9 and finish it off. But for actual one shot, I would need a more built Snow White, I think. But remember, this is more than just an interception gimmick. We can totally do this strategy for raids as well. Now, I don't know if this is going to be an optimal team to use on this particular raid, but I will definitely be trying it out, and this definitely has applications for future solo raids as well. So if we're doing it for raids, you could potentially use Summer Helm in here, because then you're going to have your cooldown reduction, and then depending on what element the boss is, the iron damage from Snow White is going to be a big deal. You'll probably use Yulha actually as your 5th unit, and then you time your burst go off every 30 seconds with the big attack buff from Yulha. For a burst 1 in a rain situation, you're probably going to be using Miranda or potentially Volume, because then you're getting your cooldown reduction there. You can also do some crit fishing. Otherwise, Miranda is just a great consistent attack buffer. And then in that case, like I said, depending on the element, maybe you throw in Summer Helm. But I feel like that's probably a little bit of a waste, honestly, for this particular setup if we are using Summer Rosanna. If you need some healing plus an attack buff, you can use OG Helm, and that's going to work great. This is kind of a classic raid team partner to use with Snow White. And then maybe even Rapunzel, if you find yourself really needing a lot more healing. Although, in this case, maybe you'd be using the Crown Rapunzel team, although Crown could potentially be going with Naga. But in raids, generally you want to keep Tia and Naga on a totally separate team. But, Rapunzel is just a potential one you can use here. Not everybody has all access to all units, right? Alright, so we'll just go back to the lobby here real quick. We do have another thing to do here at the end before we end the video. But I just want to say it's really cool to get a new partner for Snow White. And see my favorite two waifus working together, Summer Rosanna and Snow White. It's really cool that they have some synergy there, and I'm a huge fan of both of them. Okay, with that in mind, it's time to do a Pilgrim mold, and maybe we can get another copy of Snow White here. I had insane luck from my polling session from Rosanna. The summer event in general has been treating me well. Let's see if we can keep that momentum going here on the Pilgrim mold. Come on. I'm scared. It's Red Hood. It's Red Hood. Okay. That is a huge win. I will take it. There we go. We'll even get more power on any Red Hood teams, whether we're using her with Snow White or not. That's a huge win. I mean, Red Hood is still basically the best unit in the game. I will take it, even if I would have personally rather had another copy of Snow White. That's a huge win. All right, guys, let me know if you have any questions about this squad or if you've cooked up anything else to use with Rosanna. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video or stream later tonight. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more Nikke videos, more strategy, more news, all of that. All right, thank you so much for watching, guys. I will catch you guys in the next video or stream.